This episode of Ask the Doc, I got a question from my very own clinic about what I think about injections and stem cell therapy in the treatment process. What's up, everybody? Dr. Matt Maggio here, creator of the 𝐶 method and founder of the Soft Tissue Revolution, where we are on a hell of a mission to make chronic injuries obsolete by helping those that are injured and in pain get properly educated and informed on their injuries and access to quality hands-on soft tissue treatment so they can avoid bigger problems down the road like pain pills, injections, and surgeries, which only make things worse. This question probably 5 or 6 times in probably the last like 2 or 3 months. So I thought this would be a good one to cover on Ask the Doc. So what I want to break down this week is first is injections, then stem cells. So what triggered this whole thing? I get a lot of these questions, of course, from my clients about, is there this magic fix? Is this injection or stem cell going to magically fix things? And I was listening to a podcast a couple of weeks ago from a medical doctor who really specializes in longevity. His name is Peter Attia. And what he talked about was in the injury process and the injury treatment process, you have to do the work. You can't just sit by passively and do nothing. He was talking about how he'd been putting off a shoulder surgery for a long time that he knew he needed, but he knew there was going to be a lot of work in there and the rehab participating in there. And a lot of times what happens with these injections or these stem cell treatments are they don't require you to do any work and you don't have to participate. So they seem so appealing to the client, to the patient. They're like, oh, I can just get this magical injection. I don't have to change anything. I don't have to stop eating like crap. I don't have to exercise. I don't have to drink water. I don't have to do anything. I'm just going to miraculously feel better. And any treatment that doesn't require you to participate and do work is nonsense, is bullshit, and it's not going to be able to help you. Pain is a nuisance. It's a burden, but it's also built in from an evolution standpoint to keep us healthy and keep us safe. Pain lets us know there's a problem, but we try to avoid pain as much as possible, especially in our modern society. Pain is telling us there's a problem and we want to get rid of it. The thing is, if you only get rid of the pain, but you don't improve the function, it's actually very dangerous. Think of pain as like your body's check engine light that comes on. You see it come on, you go, screw it. I'm not going to deal with that. You unhook the check engine light and then the engine continues to go and then it blows up and you wonder what happens. This is what happens with treatments like injections. They temporarily allow you to feel better, but they don't fix anything and they actually make the problem worse down the road. I'm specifically talking about cortisone shots and epidurals. Cortisone is more of a general one to go in there and get rid of the inflammation. Epidurals are where they go real focused and they think they can inject right into the spot and it's going to magically undo years of dysfunction, years of pain, bad habits, crappy eating, lack of movement, bad diet, all that shit. I think it's going to magically get rid of it. The problem is they're effective at getting rid of the pain temporarily, but they actually show in studies that they actually break down that tissue even more. So you're gonna have to deal with a bigger problem down the road. I say this is kind of like taking a cash advance out on your credit card. It might help you in the short term, but it's gonna cost you a heck of a lot more down the road. That's the problem with injections. So is there any situation when you should get an injection? Maybe in the very acute process, like say you just got hurt, there's a ton of inflammation and you're going to go in there and get an injection to help that healing process, help get rid of some of that. But if you're taking that injection, you're taking that epidural to be able to do more, that is dangerous. You need to get rid of that dysfunction first, then the pain will start to get better. So if you're out there like, I'm just going to get a bunch of cortisone shots and a bunch of epidurals, I'll be good to go, you're an idiot. And so is the doctor that's giving you that because you're not fixing anything. You're only blocking the pain. You're not improving the function. Cells, oh, my favorite nonsense treatment. It's not a treatment at all. They don't magically undo all your bullshit. Think about that. Like this idea that I'm just going to get these stem cells, but I can be 50, 60 pounds overweight. Maybe I drink, maybe I smoke, maybe I eat like crap, but I'm going to get this magic injection in my knees and all my problems are going to be gone. Yeah, on the way out, I can sell you a leprechaun sitting on a unicorn and give you some magic beans. What do you think of that? Yeah, there's no quick fixes. There's no magic fix. It takes time. And if you're trying to undo all those bad things with this one magic thing, not only are you wasting your money, you're being very delusional about what's going on. There really isn't any true testing or data about this. A lot of anecdotal evidence. They talk about like what happened in the clinic. Here's the thing. If I'm going to pay all this money for some stem cells, I'm going to convince myself that I'm better because I don't want to look like an idiot. I don't want to be someone that spent 15, 20 grand on something that doesn't work. So of course I'm going to say it works because I convince myself. That's built in as humans. It's a bias that we have. And most people that are selling these stem cells in these clinics, they're not even selling the good ones. I call it the good ones. The good ones are like the ones that cost maybe like $50,000, $100,000. People like Joe Rogan have gotten those ones maybe there's some validity to those because they're really high-end stuff. But if you're paying a couple $100 for these, they're not getting you anywhere where you need to be. And lastly, it goes back into the idea. There's no work on your part. You have to do work. There's a time component and there's a work component. You have to do both in order for this to get better. So any situation where stem cells would work. I'd say maybe on the back end. Like say you got a lot of degeneration in the tendon, the cartilage, the joint itself, get everything else cleaned up, get all the tissue cleaned up, get you moving better, get you stronger. Then maybe on the back end, do some stem cells. It might help in the healing process, but it should never be your primary one. It can potentially be a secondary one down the road after you've given it more time, more work, and more effort. And one last thing, and this is a simple check for you to do for a doctor that's telling you how amazing these stem cells are and how great you're gonna feel. Simple BS test that you can do. Ask the doctor, say, hey, how about this? How about we get an MRI before we do the stem cell treatment? And then 6 months later and a year later, let's get another MRI. And if it looks better, then that's awesome. You get to keep all my money. If it doesn't change at all, it doesn't look any better, you give me all my money back. They'll look at you like your head's gonna explode and they won't say that at all. If it's such a miracle thing and it works, they should put their money where their mouth is, but they won't do that because all they're doing is stealing your money and playing on your biases as a human to want the quick fix that doesn't exist. Combs here, you gotta respect pain. Pain is there for a reason. You have to know why it's there. And simply just wanting to turn it off and not deal with the consequences of that is dangerous. And we wonder why we're in a pain pill epidemic, because we're getting rid of everyone's pain up front, but that tissue gets worse, the joint gets worse, the tendons get worse. You gotta deal with a bigger problem down the road. You gotta do the work. You can't skip the work. You have to do the work in the process. You can't just be passive and just show up and get an injection and be good to go and then have all that nonsense that you do just be completely mitigated because you took this magic shot. There's no magic fix. All injuries take time to heal. There's always a time component. Anyone that's like boasting, hey, you'll instantly feel better, run away from them. They are modern day snake oil salesmen. And lastly, take your health serious. You got one body to live in. And you know what you've done to that body, you know, especially if you're a little bit older and you know you didn't take care of it. You know you didn't do the right things. You imagine if you never changed the oil in your car, you never got a tire rotation, you never did a tune-up, your car would be blown up. But people do this with their body where they ignore it for so long. And then on the back end, they get desperate. And then people prey on people that are desperate and they want to like take your money and promise this magic fix. What they're doing is they're just messing with your human nature and they're taking advantage of you. Don't let them do that. So in closing, the best in the world at figuring out why pain's there, fixing the common source of the problem. Our peak method trained providers, you can get access to one of them by sending us a message wherever you're watching this or the links down below. Reach out for help if you need help. At the end of the day, I made this channel and I created this whole soft tissue revolution to help people get properly educated and informed on their injuries so they don't have to end up on pain pills, injections, and surgeries. If you know anyone else out there that's delusional about their health, thinks magic stem cells and injections are gonna fix it, share it with them, give them a tag. And lastly, any specific questions you want me to cover, send them in. I'm always happy to help. I appreciate you guys and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.